Welcome in, everybody, to Fan2Fan Detroit. I'm your host, Andrew Norris. This is Double P, producer Parker. Parker, what is going on in this hectic week?
I think we need like a new beginning of show prompt other than like, "Hey man, how's it going?" You need to ask me "Hey man, how'd the sky look to you on Thursday?"
How'd the sky look to you on Thursday, Parker?
Man, it was amazing. There were like some bright orange clouds at night. I got these great sunsets, some small cirrus clouds indicative of a storm, but we don't know for sure, right? Because that's the way cirrus clouds work.
Do you want to break down clouds, too?
If we had time, we don't really have time because we keep going long on our shows. So I don't want to do cloud rankings, although maybe as like a separate spin-off pod, we can do like S tier clouds and A tier clouds.
So then I guess we have to stick with our normal intro.
All right, give me the intro.
All right. No, let's just talk lines. That was our intro. Welcome in, everybody. Where do we start is the question. Do we start with the start of the game where they looked okay, or do we start with the by the script weekly claps that this team had? And if it wasn't for Matthew Stafford and a roughing the passer penalty, best case scenario, this team goes to overtime. You're up by 100 going into halftime. You're up 17-3. You're up, I think, 24-3 at one point.
Yeah.
And somehow, some way, between Matt Patricia and I'm used to Matt Patricia being horrible, and I accept it. But for some reason, I held out hope with Darrell Bevell. But he might be more of the problem with these comebacks than Matt Patricia, or at least like 60-40. Because every time this team takes a lead of more than 10 points, it's 3 and out, run, pass, run, pass. Every time. And I get it. DeAndre Swift looked good today. But can we just implement a rule where if you don't get more than four or more yards on that first down carry, that you don't run it again? 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8, up the middle runs. That kills your flow. It kills your entire offense. And, you would think we'd be coming in here happy today because we won and we're, believe it or not, a game out of the playoffs once the Rams lose tonight.
That is factually correct.
If they lose tonight.
Factually correct statement.
But it doesn't matter. There is no hope here. There's no hope for this team to go to the playoffs. We've bounced back and forth a little bit, and I swear to God, if they do make me bounce back again over the next couple weeks, I'll be angry just because then I'm a flip-flopper. But there's nothing about this team to be excited about. Even when we're lining up for that field goal, I wasn't standing there like, please go in, like I would have been any other time. I was just like, go in so it doesn't go to overtime. I don't want to watch this team for 20 more minutes. I don't want to spend my time doing that. Did you have that feeling, or were you?
I just couldn't believe that we managed to pull a win out. It felt if everything going for the second half of the game felt like an impending loss. It just kind of, as soon as it's 17-24, you're just kind of like, man, this again? Like, this thing's happening again? I agree with you that, at least in the third quarter, I felt like the offense really looked really super stale, which is super weird because I thought that they looked very, very good in the first half. And you're right. I actually have it written down in my notes. So they took their foot off the gas. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I don't know why that's happening. I get the it makes sense from a clock management point maybe to go run pass, but everybody, even those of us back here in the cheap seats, see it coming from before the snap.
And I'm not running your clock management with as soon as the second half starts. That's not a realistic way to consistently win football games. And you're right. That's what they're doing. They're trying to control the clock. They're trying to control the game flow. But what they're doing is, and it's a cliche, I know, but they're playing not to lose instead of playing to win every week. And you can see the frustration with Stafford. You can see the frustration with the offense. And then that's not even looking at the other side of the ball, which is as bad as it gets. It's horrible.
Alex Smith looked unstoppable today. In the fourth quarter, he started going deep. He was throwing 18 yards down the field, like whenever he wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same story every week. How many times per game? Over or under 7 times per game do we go, why is there nobody within 8 yards of this guy when he catches the ball?
Yeah.
They just drop the whole defense back. When they go to zone, they have no idea what they're doing. When they go to man, they're not good enough to do it. Not to mention your linebackers are lost. Jelani Tavai is lost. Reggie Ragland's the only one who looks like he has even a little bit of ability to be out there on a good defense. It's just so disheartening and so draining. It just takes the energy out of you watching this team. You watch this first half, and everybody in the state of Michigan who was watching this game saw us go up 24-3 or 17-3 and was like, just wait. Just wait. Here comes the run plays up the middle. You want to know what was working with DeAndre Swift? Outside handoffs, screen plays. He was amazing on those. You want to know what wasn't working? Run straight up the gut.
I actually thought in the first half that it was working a little better than it usually
did. Yeah.
But I take your point. In the first half, the offense couldn't be stopped, and Matt Stafford was slinging it all over the place. They didn't look like they missed Kenny Golladay at all. We had the Marvin Hall play sponsored by Toyota really early in the game this week, which was great for a touchdown, including a pass interference on defense. And then we came out in the second half and played it safe and play not to lose. And that's kind of ridiculous at this point, where this franchise is at, where this coaching staff must feel like they're at, and where their fans are at. To play like that is almost insulting.
Well, that's what I don't get too, right? You are on the hottest of hot seats.
The hottest seat, yeah.
Leave it on the field. Just leave it all out there. Go for it. Like, stop.
Do you think that Patricia's coaching for his next job?
No, I just think he sucks.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he really doesn't think he's going to get fired, because he seems like that kind of arrogant asshole. Like he just seems like that guy who can fake being a nice guy, which I think we've seen early in seasons the last 2 years. And then you kind of see his team turn on him. It seems like the same story.
Do you want to see my 4-second Matt Patricia impression?
Yes, please. It's
that one right there, that last one.
Yeah, that's. Am I doing a podcast with Matt Patricia? Matthew Stafford today, 24-33, 276, 3 touchdowns, no picks. The best Matthew Stafford game of the season, probably.
He's getting smoked out there, too.
Yeah, the helmet-to-helmet hit looked like he was going to be dead afterwards, but he was fine, popped right up as Matt Stafford does. Hurt his thumb. I don't think we ever figured out if it was on that play or if it was somewhere else, but between that play and the second half, we saw him getting his thumb taped up. But positives, right? We need positives. We got to find them.
Let's get a few of them, yeah.
Marvin Jones has arrived for the season. 3 weeks. 3 weeks in a row, he's played pretty well. ESPN.com is yelling at me again. I can't even go on that stupid website while I do this because the ads just yell at me.
Obviously, DeAndre Swift was the big positive today. He
Yes.
is now feeling comfortable enough, I think, where he's making guys miss in the open field in a way that I feel like I don't see a lot of running backs do. He doesn't do anything crazy. It's like kind of a simple juke, but it seems like people just lose track of him. I really enjoyed watching him today. Did you see him hurdle a guy?
Oh, yeah. 21 touches, 149 yards.
Yeah.
That is what the entirety of this fan base has been screaming for 9 weeks.
Yeah.
Is why most of 9 weeks. Why is he not the starter? We get it. Adrian Peterson is powerful and he's a vet and he is a smart player, I guess. But this is what this offense is needed. Not that the offense has been horrible, but it has not been great by any stretch of the imagination. Stafford being able to just check down whenever he needs to, and having a running back who can go out there, get 5 grabs for 68 yards, that is the last thing this offense needed to be a really, really good offense. But he's had it, but he hasn't had it consistently, right?
Right.
And then if they can figure out how to get this Marvin Jones to continue, 8 grabs, 96 yards, and a touchdown today, 4 touchdowns over his last 3 games. if they can get this guy to continue to be this guy when Kenny Golladay comes back, then the offense is legit. But the play calling has to be there, and the defense has to just be there a little bit. I mean, it doesn't even have to be great. It doesn't even have to be good. Just be like a little bit below average instead of the worst defense in football.
Here's a little fantasy scoop for you, a little fantasy tip. I think now is the time to be trading for rookie running backs. Even if you feel like you might overpay a little bit, if you can get your hands on Dobbins or Jonathan Taylor or DeAndre Swift, now is the time. I think those roles are only going to increase, which I think is kind of what you and I both thought coming into the season, that some of those rookie playmakers were going to need a few weeks to kind of learn how to be in the NFL. And they didn't, and they started slow, but I think they're here now.
Yeah. No, I agree. Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift, any of those guys.
Get them.
Yeah. And Dobbins you can probably get for super duper cheap, so
yeah,
if he's not on your waiver wire. So going into the fourth quarter, in the last 6 games played, the Lions, Spartans, and Wolverines had been outscored 235-80.
I'm numb to that statistic. That statistic means nothing to me.
That's unbelievable. That seems almost impossible. It's 3 teams. It's 3 different teams. I don't know. I don't have like a huge amount of takeaways because it's just the same script every week.
And we won.
Yeah.
Still what was that?
It's they write the exact same story every week. Oh, let's get out to a lead. Oh, it's 14-0 or 14-3 or 14-7. Second half, let's go up 17-10 or something along those lines. Okay, now let's make it 24-10. Oh, 3 and out, 2 touchdowns from the opposing team. Okay, maybe we'll win this game, maybe we won't. Maybe Matt Prater hit a 59-yarder. Maybe Stafford will bring us down the field, or maybe our defense just will continue to not stop the opposing team's offense. And it's those are your 3 options every week. And it works when you're facing this team. It works when you're facing Washington. But it doesn't work when you're facing the Texans even, who are 2-7 now. But we got the Texans in 2 weeks. It's not going to work against them. It's not going to work even against the 3-7 Panthers, who I'm thinking will have McCaffrey back. It's not going to work against the Packers or the Bucks or the Vikings later this year. It's just I don't know where to go. I don't know what to discuss about this team anymore because I feel like we haven't had any new information on what this team is or could be in weeks.
Yeah, I agree. There's not a lot of interesting things to talk about with the Lions this week. I think we are both kind of hoping that they might do a little bit of taking care of business. Maybe it'd be like 28-14 or something. We can come in here and we could go, oh yeah, Lions, they beat a bad team, and so they're pretty clearly above that like tier of like shit terrible, like the NFC East plus is what I'm calling it. The NFC East plus like the Texans maybe, or the kind of like the Falcons. So they're, the 10th or 11th worst team in the NFL. All right, cool. That's what we learn every week. That's what they've shown us. So
I mean, how much do you in the first half? I had a note put down as soon as the second half started and they go 3 and out, I believe, and then Washington scores. As soon as that happened, I had a note written down that said they should have won this game by 30. Now I don't know if they'll win. What's going to happen next week against the Panthers if McCaffrey plays? Is he going to go for 215?
Yeah. Yes is the answer to that.
I don't know. You want to just talk football instead of this shit team?
Sure. What do you got for football?
Did you see the pregame to the Browns-Texans?
No.
The hurricane that is coming through Michigan right now, that seems to be a hurricane. By the way, if anybody hears anything in the background that sounds like the apocalypse, it's because I'm on the 11th floor and I'm not sure my windows aren't going to cave in tonight. But, I mean, they're all standing, locking elbows for the national anthem, and the wind is just pounding them, rain in their face. Baker's just sitting there laughing because it's so horrible. They had to delay the game until 1:37, which I don't know if I've ever seen in football unless it was lightning, which this wasn't lightning. This was just inclement weather.
I did see some shots of the referee. They wear like some slightly baggier clothing, and they look like sugar gliders, where if he jumped and like tried to open his wings, he would like fly backwards. It definitely didn't look good out there.
I wouldn't be surprised if that would have actually happened if he tried it.
You got screwed on your picks pod this week by Nick Chubb running it out.
It's okay. He won. He went off in fantasy for me in his first week back, so we're all right.
Okay, so a little kiss on the cheek followed by a pat on the head, followed by maybe
a punch in the dick
next time.
Yeah,
I get they're going for ball control, but I feel like you still score that touchdown, right?
No.
No,
because if you score the touchdown, you're up 17-7 with a minute left, sure, but it gives them a chance. Even if it's a 0.005% chance, it's a chance. If you don't score it, you need the ball twice and it's over. Period, point blank, no discussion to be had. Okay. I mean, we've seen crazier things than a 10-point comeback with a minute left in a game. Not much crazier, but crazier.
I mean, the Lions a couple weeks ago against the Falcons, that's a 14-point swing.
Yeah, exactly. Nick Chubb, though, 19 carries, $126, and a touchdown in his first game back. 10-7 was the final score. At one point, I can't even remember if it was the Browns or the Texans. I think it was the Texans line up for a 43-yard field goal, but the wind was so bad, they snap it directly to their kicker and punt it. Got it down on the 4. It was a great play. But that is how crazy the weather was there today. It was
not a
mess.
Not a lot to glean about in any of those teams from that game. That's just a pretty impossible game if you're a quarterback.
Yeah, it was. It was going to be whoever had the better running game that day.
I wish I'd done a quick Google search on what the weather was like on that game, because I wouldn't have played Deshaun Watson fantasy and would have played Matt Stafford. But
well, you live and you learn.
Live and learn, live and learn.
The Giants in this dumpster fire that is the NFC East, I believe, let me double check here, are now tied for first place in the NFC East with the Eagles after beating them today. This says that the Eagles are 3-5 and everybody else is 3-7, but that's not right. So, they have a tie. They have a tie in there and then a bye week. So they're a game back, half game back. I'm not counting them out. I'm not doing it. I'm not counting anybody in NFC East out. But I don't hate that team as much as I feel like a lot of people do. The thing that they really utilized today was they had, especially in the red zone, direct snaps to Daniel Jones, just take the ball and run. 9 carries, 64 yards today for him. He was really good through the air too, 75%, 250 yards. No touchdowns, no picks. Didn't turn it over though. That's I think only the second time in his entire career he hasn't turned the ball over. And then the thing I love to talk about every single week. Every week now I'm going to talk about this. Carson Wentz is garbage. He's trash. He's a backup quarterback. 21 of 37, 208 yards. You want to know what that is? 5.6 yards per attempt. Not good enough. No touchdowns, no picks. Got sacked 3 times. He can't beat the Giants, man. And it's the Eagles don't have a wonderful roster, but it's better than the Giants roster. Agree, disagree? How you feel about Carson Wentz?
I at this point agree. It's hard not to agree. The Giants are 7-3 against the spread on the season, by the way.
Are they?
Uh-huh.
Wow. See, so to me, I don't know if this is just putting too much stock into that, but to me, that shows me a team that's not that far away. Right? That means they're competing.
They do some really cool things with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones can actually run the football as a quarterback. I know the most famous Daniel Jones running play for the rest of his career from now on is going to be him falling over. Yep. But the dude's actually really fast.
Yeah,
really fast.
He does though. Even the touchdown run today where he splits a couple defenders, he still looks like he's gonna fall over.
He doesn't run well.
He runs like a baby.
Yeah, he runs like somebody who's not fast.
Yes,
that's there's a thing about 40-yard dash times in combines where agents will tell players it's not so much about being fast as much as it is about looking fast. And I don't know totally what that means until I saw Daniel Jones run, who is fast but looks like he's never run before. He looks like if I tried to run a 40-yard dash right now, my body would there'd be alarms, and my body would be what? Why are you doing this to us?
He looks like Rovell. The Rovell run in the 40. It's bad. He looks like he's wearing khakis when he runs.
Yes, that's
he's
good. I like
that. In khakis. But I think, all right, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to put a bet in tonight on the Giants winning the East. Plus 500, plus 600. I'm going to put the bet in. It's worth the odds.
I still think the Eagles are going to squeak this division out. It's the race to 5.
I'm trying to find something positive with the Eagles, and I can't. At least with the Giants, I can find things. Like the Eagles have beat the Cowboys. Better. Yeah, sure. But their wins this year are against the depleted Niners teams. They beat the Giants and they beat the Cowboys. It's just not impressive at all to me.
The Niners. You want to talk about the Niners for a second? So the Niners are playing right now. We're recording a little earlier on Sunday than we usually do, just because we just wanted to. We just wanted to do it that way.
Sometimes we do what we want to do, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, guys, get off our backs. And they were in the first half very competitive in their game, and I just can't figure that team out because they don't. I don't know if I could name like 3 or 4 players besides Nick Mullins on that team. It seems like they have like a bunch of like pretty good receivers and this like weird stable of running backs that changes every week, but they just they keep winning games. Like they are in every football game.
It's Shanahan.
It's got to be.
It's the only answer. I mean, like I know you said a pretty good stable of receivers, but like it's Brandon Ayuk and it's Jordan Reed, who shouldn't be playing football, Jordan Reed, and not because skill set, but because of health. I don't even know who this guy is. Richie James.
He caught like 10. He had like 10 for 160 last week or something crazy like that. Hang on, I'm gonna make sure I got that right.
Yeah. So last week was the first week he played. 9 catches on 13 targets for $184. First time he's played this entire season. So that's a Shanahan thing to me, right?
Probably.
On top of the fact that, they have some of the best coordinators in the league. I mean, they're only down 7 to the Saints right now going into the fourth quarter. The Saints are about to score. But I guess I should know this coming into here, but it just happened. So I'm going to see if you do. Do you know what happened to Drew Brees? He's out of the game.
He got hit. He actually got hit a few times. But there was one in particular, and it got flagged for roughing the passer, but it looked pretty clean to me. It looked like a pretty clean, just a direct shot. You know how it is. Is Jameson then?
Yeah, 5 for 5 so far too.
Oh man.
So
I actually wish I wasn't doing the show and I was watching Jameis right now.
Did you see his little pregame warm up where
he was like wiggling? Yeah, we're gonna play that clip right here.
Okay, cool. All right, I have a take that might be a hot take, or might just be completely wrong, but for some reason, this is what my brain's telling me. The Bucks are just a better version of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I think they're a more explosive version of the Cleveland Browns. They have... you know what? I don't even know if I think that. With OBJ, I think that they're similar teams. That's for sure.
So,
I guess I do like that.
If you listen to our picks pod, the Browns, when they win, they score 30+. When they lose, they score less than 10. And you look at the Buccaneers, like when they lost to the Saints, they only scored 3. When they lost to the Bears, they only scored 19. And then when they win, it's like, oh, did they put up 49 points today? Like today they win 46-23 in a game that looked like it was going to be close for a lot of it. And I don't know how that's going to stand in the playoffs. Because essentially what I think the Bucs season is going to come down to come playoff time is, are they going to be as hot as they get? Because if they're not as hot as they get, they don't stand a chance to win the Super Bowl. But if they can go 3 weeks or 2 weeks, depending, 3 weeks, they can win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're consistent enough to do that. And I don't know if Brady at his senior citizen age is consistent enough to do it anymore.
I still really like the Bucs once the playoffs roll around. There just aren't a lot of teams that are going to know more about what it's like than they are at the end of the day, just from having Tom Brady. Here's another little fantasy nugget. I think that now might be the time to find whoever has Rob Gronkowski and is kind of tired of having him and seeing what they want for him if you need a tight end. I think Gronk's going to come on a little bit for a couple weeks here to round out the season.
I'm not touching Gronk. I'm
just,
good.
If it costs you like a third or fourth wide receiver and you're like, I don't know.
All right, maybe.
And I don't know
Maybe.
I don't know if I love having like DJ Hawkinson every week or something. Or I've got Noah Fant, and I'm not so sure how I feel about it. Maybe take a look at Gronk.
He had 3 targets today. I know he caught a touchdown,
Yeah,
but it's just I
the
think
last couple of weeks he's been a lot better.
Playoff Gronk, sure. Like if fantasy was going on and during the NFL playoffs, I'd agree because I think he's just going to leave it all out there because I don't know if we see another year of Gronk. It might have just been coming back to try to win one more Super Bowl with Tom, and then maybe they both retire together or something crazy like that. But we'll see.
I feel like I saw a lot of quarterback roughing the passer calls that didn't really look that egregious to me. And to even go on to the back of that, I feel like we kind of missed an opportunity to talk about how terrible that call on Trufant for defensive pass interference was. Maybe the worst call I've seen this year.
Yeah.
Definitely up there. One of the worst calls I've seen.
And then they don't even show the holding call on the broadcast. His next penalty that he got, they don't even show the next one.
I'm always super frustrated when they do stuff like that. I never know if it's intentional or what the word is on that. But
well, that was the first thought that went through my mind. Are they not showing this because they don't want people to freak out over back-to-back bad calls on a 4th and a 3rd down that could win this game for Washington? And I still haven't seen it. I haven't looked it up, but I haven't seen it. You want to talk some basketball? I'm really excited.
I really would like to talk some basketball.
Time.
This is going to be cut either like in the middle of the show, or this might end up just being the whole non-football portion of the show. But Andrew and I recorded like a little earlier than we usually do, and then on Monday we record on Sunday. We woke up and like all of the important basketball stories broke. So like,
but wait, there's more.
What's more?
This is more.
Oh, so like there's more show? Yeah. So we're not even going to get the chance to talk about New Hopkins behind us or like any of that kind of stuff because like 3 huge basketball things, including one like 5 minutes before we hit record, have broke. So the first we should do like the one that's only important to us, which is that Bruce Brown was traded to the Nets for what's his name? How do you say it?
Zanan Musa.
And a 2nd-round pick, which is a really good move for the Nets.
Thank you. Whoa, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's a great move for the Nets, who are going to get like a legitimate 3rd guard, plays awesome defense, is like totally passable on offense, isn't going to be needed to score a lot, I would imagine, on that team, especially if like the second story that broke right before we came on the air breaks. But how do you feel about this trade from the point of view of the Pistons?
Not good. Now, what we all have to remember is now we're doing this Monday night. We recorded our show Sunday. By the time this airs Tuesday, there could be more pieces to this puzzle.
Yeah.
But as of right now, if this is the trade, if this trade is a standalone trade, this is a horrible start for Troy Weaver.
Yeah.
And I think just about anybody in this fan base would tell you that Bruce Brown is Detroit basketball. And I don't mean for this current team. I mean what Detroit basketball is about. Bruce Brown embodies it in every single way. Every way. It's hard work, defense, grittiness, toughness. That's all he is. It's a guy who didn't have like the natural talent to make it and be on an NBA roster. But this dude works his ass off every day in practice from everything you hear. And he's took a huge leap from year 1 to 2. Points, rebounds, assists, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, you name it, it went up. And you trade him for a guy who might be the worst player in basketball.
Well, it's him or what's his name on the Knicks, the 18-year-old who hasn't been good. I can't remember his name right now.
Like he's young, sure. But there's things like just on the surface, like this guy looks like he should be like a high ceiling basketball player. He's 6'9", 220. He's got great shooting form. He moves decently well. But what if I told you he can't shoot, can't play defense, can't pass, can't dribble? I mean, there's nothing he can do at an NBA level. So the hope right now, because I think we've all put faith into Troy Weaver and we're not ready to say no and say this guy sucks, as we shouldn't be right now, by the way. But I think we're all expecting that he's got more up his sleeve. This is the first domino of many dominoes to fall.
We hope.
But I guess we're going to have to wait for the next few days,
So
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, to see.
Let me ask you a follow-up question on that. How does this move create a domino effect for other moves?
I've been trying to figure it out all day. Unless there's a decent trade we're looking at here, either to move up or to add another lottery pick. And some team was like, we don't really like Bruce Brown. And we're like, well, we can get you this shitty white kid in the second round pick for next year on top of this package we already have. Maybe. But I can't. I've been trying all day to figure out what is that exact deal. Where is it? And I don't know what it is. I don't know what a second round pick or Zanan Musa does for any team that Bruce Brown wouldn't do.
Zanan Musa played 12 minutes a game last year for the Nets.
And let me tell you some of my favorite statistics from that time. He shot 24% from three on 2 attempts a game. He only shot 75% from the free throw line, which, dude, you're a 6'9" white guy. That's supposed to be your calling card in the NBA. And he shot 37% total from the field.
What good is a white Euro guy who can't shoot? I mean, honestly.
No good. That's not even debatable. That's just facts. So we'll see. I mean, does it mean that there's a Blake or a D Rose trade coming up soon? Maybe. When you first look at it, I think you go, okay, this team's ready to bottom out. And then you go, okay, but they can bottom out Bruce Brown. Like, Bruce Brown's not stopping you from bottoming out.
Bruce Brown's like on your win timeline, right?
Yeah.
2+ years of Bruce Brown left, plus his next contract.
And his next contract was going to be like 3 years,
21 million. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I can't find the answer. But there is no way that Troy Weaver makes this trade just for this trade. I believe that with my heart. There is no way. So as of right now, F-. In the future, to TBD. Like, we will see what's going to come of it.
Yeah, I'm worried that we're Bob Quinning this a little bit and that they just like this guy and they were good to move on from Bruce Brown. But I don't know. Like,
there's no way.
I can't find a 4-dimensional chess move anywhere on this board for this trade. So we'll see, I guess. Do you have any closing thoughts on this trade?
Don't fuck it up, Troy. Better be something else coming.
We got our eye on you. This is a bad start. Just from like an optics perspective, it's a bad first trade to make.
You add another top 10 pick tomorrow or you move up in the draft, I'll forgive you instantly. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, one of the two of those things need to happen. And I think you and I both think that they are going to move up. I think the Pistons are going to move up.
Yeah,
that's where
there is a draft day trade coming. Will it be for a pick 10 through 13 to add with 7, or will it be to move up to 1, 2, or 3? I think those are the questions right now.
What would we be giving up to add a 10 to 13 pick?
Luke Kennard, maybe that's it. You might add Musa and a second-round pick. I mean, I would give up I would have struggled to give up Luke and Bruce for the Suns pick. But I'm not going to be angry if that's what they do tomorrow, if they give up Luke, Musa, and a second-rounder for the Suns pick.
And the Suns are picking at 10?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the sweet spot for this draft, if you believe people who study drafts, is like kind of 7 to 11, 7 to 12. So if we're like moving up to get Patrick Williams or something, I guess I'd be good with that. Maybe they think they can get Killian Hayes at 10. I wouldn't want to make that gamble, but
I'm taking him at 7, and whoever is left over at 10, I'll take.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna risk Killian being gone. I don't know. We're gonna come next week's show. We're going to be able to have a full discussion about this, and what's going to be interesting is how much the rhetoric between the conversation we're having now changes by then.
Yeah.
Are we going to be in a different seat, or are we going to be in the what are we doing seat like we kind of are now? At least now we have hope. If nothing happens a week from now, then that hope will be lost, and you'll get to see us get a little angry about it. So,
let's move on to our second Brooklyn Nets thing that happened today, and it is that James Harden, per Adrian Wojnarowski, turned down a contract extension with the Rockets that would have made him the first NBA player to be paid $50 million a year. And then there's like a kind of like a thing that Woj does where he's telling you without telling you that the message is clear. Get me to Brooklyn. So Andrew, let me ask you this: does James Harden get to Brooklyn?
Not before the start of the season.
Yeah.
And here's what's happening, by the way, right now. Woj and Shams are being used as trigger pullers, I guess, as they have been like a lot recently over the last couple of years between the Lakers and the Pelicans. And now this one camp is telling Shams this is what's happening, and the other camp is telling Woj this is what's happening, and they're both lying. They're both being told lies. It falls somewhere in the middle. Is James Harden saying only Brooklyn? Probably not. But is Houston saying if Kyrie Irving isn't in this deal, it's not getting done? Also, I don't know if that's true, because I think the Nets can make a sweet deal happen even without him.
The Nets have contracts that they can move. They've got good players. They can make a deal happen with a couple of different combinations of contracts. They've got Karis LeVert. They've got Taurean Prince. They've got Spencer Dinwiddie. 3 really good players. Michigan's own Karis LeVert.
They've got Jared Allen.
Oh, yeah, Jared Allen. I think if you trade Jared Allen, you're probably committing to signing him to his next contract. I think he's only got 1 year left, or one of those guys has 1 year left and his contract is really low. But I think I agree with you that I don't think Harden ends up on the Nets. I don't know if I agree with you that Shams and Woj are both being lied to by both camps, because I don't think that those are the guys that you can lie to like that. I think that like if you burn Woj, you really, really, really make it hard for yourself to make a move in the future and like leak it or use it as part of your PR strategy. Woj, I think, as a reporter, is powerful enough to go to basically like to burn
We just
a
watched it
relationship
happen
with
last
the
summer.
organization.
We just
With
watched
who?
it happen with the Lakers and the Pelicans.
What do you mean?
There was a month-long stretch where they were reporting opposite things because the Pelicans were telling Shams one thing and the Lakers were telling Woj the other thing. I mean, it's I don't even think they're burning them. I think they know they're kind of being used, but I think they have their connects, right? They have their links that they go with and they trust. And I don't think they're necessarily just being straight up lied to. I think this is the way those specific camps are thinking, but it's not set in stone. Like, I feel like both these guys are trying to make it seem like right now that's a rivalry. That's Shams and Woj is Lakers Celtics. I mean,
It is sports media's greatest rivalry.
It is the master versus the Padawan. Like, it really is. And I think they both trust who they're listening to, but only one of them is going to get to be right.
So are they both? I haven't seen, like, I must have missed whatever Shams tweeted about this on my phone somehow. What is he saying? Because I only know what Woj just said. Oh.
So I saw a video. I don't know if he actually tweeted it. He said that the Rockets will not trade James Harden to Brooklyn unless Kyrie or Kevin Durant are involved in the trade. Obviously, you're not getting KD, and you're probably not getting Kyrie because that's Kevin Durant's best friend. They went there together. They're not going to not play together. But there's also rumblings that Kyrie is one of the people who doesn't, surprise, surprise, who doesn't want James Harden in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean, all of that makes sense. All of that, down to Kyrie not wanting James Harden there. Like, I hear all of that. When do you think we'll know the answer to this?
The All-Star break.
You think that they would make a move for James Harden in the middle of the year?
Yeah, I think it's going to be not because of the Nets, because of the Rockets.
Okay.
The Rockets are going to hold out as long as they can, try to keep him around, but then they're going to see they don't have a title team around him. I mean, you have a chance if you're the Rockets to really kick off a rebuild right here.
Yeah.
You're not going to win a title with James Harden. It's just not happening. They've tried all the ways that they know how to try. Now he's like he's going on 30 or he's in his early 30s. It's time to move on. Get everything you can get for him. Find some team dumb enough, like the Magic, like we discussed earlier on the show, or later. We'll see. I guess I don't know where we're putting it in.
At some point on this show, we will discuss the Magic.
To give you too much for him, and you are off to a really good start. If you can start a rebuild with Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, Spencer
Fultz.
Dinwiddie, and Markelle Fultz, and a few first-round picks. That's an amazing start. I mean, you're not Sam Presti in the OKC Thunder, but nobody ever has been that right now. So we'll see. Let's do this. Let's do this to wrap it up. I want your prediction on or not to wrap it up. You seem like you have.
We've got one more. We've got the Chris Paul to Phoenix.
Love it. Love everything about it for both sides.
Yeah,
I mean, both sides. The Thunder do two things. They had another first-round pick, which I think I saw something today that said they had 17 first-round picks between now and 2027.
That's crazy.
And then they also had some good young players, including Kelly Oubre, who they might be able to flip for a first-round pick or have part of their long-term plans. You have a lot of options there. And then the Suns are finally going to make the playoffs. I saw some debate about that. Guys, they're going to the playoffs. This team is super talented. This team is super talented.
Yeah.
And having those young guys go into a gym where Chris Paul is going to fuck them up mentally and physically in the best way possible, that's nothing but good. Suns killed it. I wasn't sold on a CP3 to Phoenix trade before today, but after seeing that trade, really good job by both teams. Man, Sam Presti is a four-eyed fucking genius.
He's he's gonna go down as like kind of probably what Daryl Morey wishes he could be, I think, in a lot of ways. I love this trade as well. Look out for DeAndre Ayton in fantasy basketball next year. I think that dude's poised for an insane breakout year. Everything around him is going to be set up for him to just like average 25 and 18, basically. It's going to be awesome. I'm really excited to watch the Suns for the first time in a long time.
Do you think Sam Presti is like calling Sam Hinkie and after he makes each one of these trades and being like, trust the process, bitch, and then just hanging up the phone?
It's like really passive aggressive, like, hey, it's me, Sam. Just calling to see what you're up to. Just traded for Chris Paul, or just traded Chris Paul, and then he like hangs up the phone. I love that. I hope that's happening.
He's like, did you draft Jahlil Okafor? Because I have 17 first-round picks.
Maybe you want to come in and do like a guest spot and take a draft pick for one of our second-round picks.
We're looking
one
for
of the ones that doesn't matter.
Speakers around the office, like just trying to boost morale.
So the Suns actually have enough money left to go out and sign like a Gallo or a Bertans or something. And I think that once you add that in, it's just going to be a nice souffle. You know, all the elements coming together very nicely. A lot of shooting, good defense. It's going to be good.
Okay, defense at best. I think that's the one issue with this team is the defense is iffy. But you're going to have one of the best guard duos in the league.
Yeah.
A young up-and-coming center who doesn't get enough credit. Like, I know Ayton isn't wonderful, but he's 18 and 11, and he is efficient, and he at least is showing the ability that he's going to probably be able to develop a three ball eventually. It's good from the free throw line. He can pass a little bit. And his rim protecting improved a ton last year.
Yeah.
You go get somebody like Bertans, and you're running like CP3, Booker, Bertans, Saric, and Ayton. I mean, that is a modern ass five. Yeah. And you're not going to win a title in CP3's time there. But what you're doing is you're recreating a culture that the Suns had through the 00s, right? They had it for almost a whole decade. You're recreating that for the next part of Devin Booker's career after these next 2 years. And you're hoping that can carry through, that you can, one, keep him there until, either a younger star or a guy more on his timeline gets there, or even better than Chris Paul. But that's a great trade. Both sides. It's one of the rare trades where you can't find a loser.
Yeah. And if the Phoenix Suns then add Luke Kennard for the 10th pick in the draft, they're going to be 7 or 8 guys like looking really nice for the playoffs too. So a lot of shooting.
Yeah.
And I'll miss Luke Kennard if we trade him, but I won't miss him that much.
Dude, I'm not paying Luke Kennard next year. So
yeah, I wouldn't either. I don't think you can for what he's going to go for.
And I get Pistons fans love this guy. He can shoot really well. He's a decent playmaker. I get it, guys, but he's not Klay Thompson. Like, he's a good basketball player. And if you can get a lottery pick, even in a shitty draft, for a guy the year before you have to pay him $18 million a year, it's worth it. It's worth the risk. I know that you're hoping to get a guy of Luke Kennard's talent level, but you also have a chance to get a guy much better than Luke Kennard. Take the risk, Pistons. Do they do it? Are they adding another lottery pick and or trading up?
One of the two. I feel like
when this airs, the draft's in 24 hours.
If they don't, I'm gonna have a lot of questions. I'm gonna mostly want to know why Troy Weaver is even here, because I feel like we could have just brought in any old idiot could have done that, made a bad trade and then sat, So this is the opportunity for that Ed Stefanski led office to once again do a good job, and they've done a decent job over the last couple of years. So that's why I think they'll do.
I trust them more than any other front office in the city. So we'll see.
I don't know, man. Stevie Y. That's right. We got hockey in this week.
Hockey.
Did it.
Hockey. Hockey.
Excellent.
Hockey. Hockey.
Okay, let's get out of here. Let's go back to the regular part of the show.
Yeah, and again, welcome to the rest of the show.
It's NBA rumor season. There's a million rumors flying around. 20% of them are real. 80% of them are smoke screens. But one thing we know for sure, I think, is that Dennis Schroeder is going to the Los Angeles Lakers for Jeff Green and the Danny Green and the 28th pick.
Yep.
I love this trade for the Lakers.
It's a wonderful trade. It's as good as it gets. You're stealing an almost all-star level player who has developed a three-point shot that's not as good as anybody, but it's in the top 25%. I think he shot 38% last year and almost 40% on catch and shoot threes, which is going to be his main style of shooting the three this year. And then on top of that, what was the Lakers' biggest problem all season? It was when LeBron went to the bench, they didn't have somebody to create offense alongside Anthony Davis. And you never, even when it's Anthony Davis, you don't want to go long stretches having a big man be your primary creator. Dennis Schroeder can do everything. He was maybe the best fourth quarter player in basketball this year. He was efficient. I mean, super efficient, especially for Dennis Schroeder, who started his career as a chucker, really. Not a great passer, but a good enough passer. And he just fits on a championship style team. He's tough as hell, and he's going to win them some ball games. I love this trade for the Lakers. I like it for the Thunder too.
I don't have a strong opinion on this for the Thunder. So I guess what this trade means is that the Thunder are cashing out, right? They're a fire sale. You can get whatever for whoever.
Mm-hmm. War chest, man.
I guess. I personally think that we're a little out of control with the tanking or championship type stuff, in general with basketball right now. And I think that we've seen over the last couple of years, there's some really good teams that aren't that super team kind of style, right? We just saw one with the Miami Heat. So I don't love that the Thunder are tearing it all down after an overachieving season, but that's what they've decided to do.
But that's what it is, right? It's an overachieving season where you're also going to lose Chris Paul. You're going to get worse. What they're setting themselves up for is they have something like 10 first-round picks over the next 5 years.
In the 2023 draft, they are taking every draft pick. That's a fact.
Yeah, and so they're going to hit on a star in there. And then what they do, they hit their star, they get their guy. And then they take all these other assets and they trade it for whoever in 2025 demands a trade, whatever superstar does it then, you go trade then. I mean, it's a long-term play where you're still going to be semi-competitive. You're never going to bottom out. But what's the difference if you were the 6th best team in the West over the next couple of years or the 10th best team in the West? There is no difference. They aren't the Miami Heat.
One of those teams makes the playoffs and has the potential to be competitive, and one of those teams is not a factor in the NBA in any way.
And then the team that makes the playoffs 5 years down the road is missing the playoffs, and the team that doesn't make the playoffs has a chance to build a championship level team.
I get
the other version has no chance of building a championship level team.
I understand the theory of planning out 5 years ahead, But planning 5 years ahead in the NBA is a Bob Quinn move. That's Bob Quinning right there. That's like the math says that in 2024 the salary cap will be X, and so that if we have Y number of draft picks to go with Q percentage of hitting on my lottery pick over these 4 years, like I understand it. Like I get why it works, and I understand what the goal is, but I don't like it. I don't find it enjoyable.
It's not, but what's enjoyable, Parker? Building a championship team is enjoyable. Like having the shot to actually do it. And I'm not saying, and again, this team isn't going to bottom out, and they could very well still be a playoff team.
Are going to bottom out.
How far what are you considering
if you
bottoming
Chris Paul
out?
And Dennis Schroeder, you're going to be the 12th place team in the West.
You're going to be like at worst the 10th worst team in basketball.
I think that they'll be like the 10th worst team in basketball.
That's not bottoming out. You still have a competitive team. You make a free agent signing or two, and you got a chance at the playoffs again. And then on top of that, you're still getting assets instead of having a 28-year-old point guard who's at his peak. He's in his prime. Like he's not doing anything for you.
Do you think that the Magic should sign Russell Westbrook?
No.
That's like the same principle. They have the opportunity to get a star for nothing. And the NBA is a stars league, and they've still got some young players around. But right now, the Magic are the 10th best team in the East, and that's really boring. And they've been that for 10 years. And now they have the opportunity to become maybe the 6th best team in the East and potentially attract another star in 2 years, which is much closer than 5 years.
Two problems with that. One, I would like the trade if you were trading for a superstar that could get you to that next level. Russell Westbrook isn't that guy. You're a 7 seed with a first-round exit in the playoffs. And two, he's not attracting another star. Nobody wants to play with Russell Westbrook, including the player. And then he instantly didn't.
Well, I think Russell Westbrook didn't want to play with James Harden anymore.
I think they both pretty much hit their breaking point as soon as the bubble started. I think they're good on playing with each other. He's a $40 million bloated contract for a player who's worth $25 million a year.
If you're Orlando, and I just think Orlando needs, and I think that this is also
I might do it if I'm
Orlando. To Orlando.
Yeah.
Very specifically to Orlando, you just got to be kind of interesting for a year, right? Or else go to Seattle. Right.
But the thing about Orlando is they're building something at least decent, right? With Isaac and Fultz and Vooch and Fournier. They have some pieces. I don't know if I want to disrupt that yet.
They've got 6 guys Westbrook who are going to be the 4th or 5th best player on a title team.
Yeah, for sure.
Which isn't nothing, but nobody's going to see Jonathan Isaac. Not a lot of people are. I don't think ever.
I don't think so either.
Fultz, maybe. I don't really know about Fultz anymore because he didn't look terrible when he was there. But
I don't know what the ceiling is there.
Me neither. I also don't know where that's at now. So I did not want to yell about the Thunder. That was not my goal coming into this segment.
Victor Oladipo.
So for Victor Oladipo, I have 3 or 4 places written down. I think Dallas is the one that I like the most for him.
Love that.
I think staying is the second, which is what he said in a statement. We can take that to mean what we will.
Yeah, before you go to the other two, I also think that we should mention that there's been reports coming out over the last couple of days that he was going up to other teams in front of his teammates and asking if he could play with them. So
Yikes.
Staying is going to move down to 4 on my list, but go ahead with your other two.
Okay, so then maybe the Atlanta Hawks, who are desperate to win right now.
Great.
And this is going to make me sound really stupid, but the Nets, I think he would cost less than Harden, so you could keep a little more of what you got intact, so you can get 85% of Harden for 50% of the price. And I think that's a better move because then you can probably keep Taurean Prince or something like that and have a 7-player roster.
Every single contending team in the NBA should be trying to get Victor Oladipo right now. If I'm the Warriors, I'm giving up the number 2 pick for him. Let's get it done. Easy money. If I'm the Lakers, I give up any remaining assets I have. If I'm the Rockets, I give up Westbrook. If I'm I don't know, like you said, the Nets, that works. If I'm the Celtics, we'll figure it out. We can run.
After that.
I'll run 4. I will run a guard, 3 wings, and a center. I'll do it all day. I don't care. Even maybe like the Raptors.
That's the final evolution of this, of what we're seeing in basketball right now, is it's point guard, 3 wings, and a center.
Yeah. And it's Tatum, Brown, and Oladipo. I mean, between Brown and Oladipo, you can guard anybody playing 2 through 4. Yeah. I mean, there might be some power forwards that are going to give you fits. You might have to switch some things up if you're facing the Lakers, but that's, we're cross that bridge when you get there. But this guy, he's just so easy to plug and play, and his defense is good, and he's become a good jump shooter. And I know he's coming back from an injury, a pretty major injury, but he came back, and he looked okay. He looked good. Now he's had even more time off to rest it and get right. But that's the guy, man. I think whoever gets Oladipo is going to turn into maybe not the favorite, because I think the favorite's going to be the Lakers until proven otherwise right now. But if like the Nets got him, they'd be the favorite. But I think that's the guy. That is the crown jewel of this offseason.
Yeah, either him or Bradley Beal, right? But it seems like the Wizards are just content to leave him in the gulag.
Who? They gotta see what they have with post-injury John Wall and Bradley Beal. Which
they have a pretty high draft pick this year too, right?
Yeah, real high. I can't remember exactly the number, but you got to see what you have, and I agree. I think I would too. Back when they were doing their thing before Bradley Beal was even at this level, they were a playoff team and a good playoff team with a bright future. So now that I think Bradley Beal is kind of the alpha dog of that team, and he should be. We'll see if John Wall allows that to happen. But he's going to be at least there for half a season, at least.
Let me ask you a trade that I heard, and you tell me if you feel like it moves the needle for you. Eric Bledsoe for Lou Williams and Patrick Beverly.
No. I mean, Lou Williams doesn't perform in the playoffs. He never has. Patrick Beverly might be the most overrated player in the entire NBA. I'm good. I mean, it'd be sweet in the regular season, and it could work because of Lou Williams. But Patrick Beverly doesn't do anything for me in playoff. Lou is more focused on hot wings from a strip club than he is on getting buckets. All right, let's do this because it's about that time. As we've mentioned, the draft is on Wednesday, so you're going to be listening to this show probably Tuesday night. The draft's tomorrow if you're in that position. And there is nobody knows what's going to happen. This is the most the draft with the most potential options of who goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that I've ever seen. Ever. We could go Edwards, LaMelo, Wiseman. We could go Edwards, Wiseman, Okongwu. We could go LaMelo, Wiseman, Edwards. I mean, Obi Toppin could sneak in there. There is no set order of where these prospects are. Each team has their own board, even more so this year than any other year. So let's start with the top. Who do you think's going number 1? The Minnesota Timberwolves are on the clock. Well, 2 things. Do you think they trade it? If not, who goes number 1?
I don't think they trade it because I think that the disparity between what the T-Wolves are going to feel the value of the pick is and what the rest of the NBA feel the value of the pick is going to be it's going to be disparate. The disparity is going to be disparate. I think that they'll take Anthony Edwards.
I agree. And I think that's the right call. It's for a team like the Timberwolves where it's boom or bust here. If you don't hit on this pick, then you're going to be another 2 years of being bad. And then you're going to trade away Cat and D'Lo. That's just going to be your timeline if you don't hit here. You disagree.
I disagree that it's boom bust. I think that with Anthony Edwards, you're kind of slotting yourself in at a B+. It's a B+ pick. And I think of all of those kind of top 4 or 5 guys, Anthony Edwards is the most defined as far as what his floor and what his ceiling could be. I think Anthony Edwards is going to be a guy who competes for All-Stars, but maybe only gets 1 or 2. He's a pretty prototypical modern guard. I think he matches what that team wants pretty well. I don't think it's a huge risk, and I think that that's kind of where the T-Wolves will go. If they want to make a splash, they take LaMelo and hope it works out. I
don't know if I agree with that. I think the ceiling is an all-star, and if it doesn't work, you're getting Andrew Wiggins. Like, you're not getting a good, solid NBA player. I don't think he's ever going to fall into the middle. He's a guy who likes to take a lot of shots, who's kind of lazy on defense. Actually pretty lazy on defense. He's very inconsistent on that end of the floor. I don't think you're setting yourself up for a guy who can become like a 15-point per night guy on semi-efficient shooting who can like be a good role player on a really good team. I don't think that that's even a possibility for Edwards.
Okay, who do you think that the T-Wolves take then?
I still think it should be Edwards. I agree with that part. I just think that it's because even if let's say it was what you just explained, and he did become a above average good player, but not great. 2 years down the road, Cat's going to want out because you're still not winning, and D'Lo is going to follow right behind him, and then you're stuck with just that guy. So it's interesting, but I think maybe the most interesting pick, in fact, I know this is the most interesting pick of the whole first round, is number 2. What do the Warriors do? Are they going to be able to find the star to match 2 and Wiggins with to go get? And at this point, it's looking like they're not. I guess maybe Oladipo.
That's interesting.
I think Oladipo is their best bet. I think that's who they should be trying to get. I think that's who they could get with this pick as well. But I
actually really like.
Right, and you could probably do it straight up. I would assume 2 and Wiggins for Oladipo.
And the Pacers are exactly that kind of franchise where you take a guy like Wiggins and you turn him into like a TJ Warren success story, and you take 2 and you go and probably not LaMelo, but maybe like Obi Toppin maybe makes sense for me for them. Somebody who probably needs a little bit of work, a little bit of development, a little more of a raw prospect. I actually like that. If you can turn Oladipo into Wiggins and Obi Toppin or Wiggins and Wiseman, and then you deal Miles Turner, that is intriguing to me. I am intrigued by that.
Or you trade 2 again. I don't want to go that deep because then we're just going down roads that don't exist. But I think that might be the best option for him, honestly. So where do you think LaMelo goes? Do you think the Warriors stay and he goes 2?
Has there ever been a prospect who's like draft projections where he could go 1, he could fall out of the first round? Like the rumors and the rumors within the rumors are insane. He's been out here in Metro Detroit for a while. We know that. He
was with Jalen Rose today.
Yeah.
The Detroit product.
The rumors are weird. There's rumors that his interviews are terrible. And then there are rumors that he's tanking his interviews because he wants to go to New York. There's I don't know, man. I actually think there's an above 0 chance, really an above 20% chance the Pistons end up with him at 7.
I'd say above 7%, under 13%. That's too much talent to slip that far. It's if he goes to like 5 or 6.
I think the Bulls will probably take a shot at him if he's there when they get to him.
Yeah, I mean, you have Kobe White, but Kobe White is going to be what Kobe White's going to be. It's going to be a good player. It's not going to, the ceiling is limited.
Kobe White and LaMelo could be in a backcourt together, probably.
Yeah, well, that's the beautiful part about LaMelo, right? He's 6'7". Like, you can have him defend twos. He can do that. He's long. He's athletic. You can do that. So
the Bulls are another team that's like a huge wild card for the offseason. That they might get rid of some guys. It seems like they got a lot of guys who they don't need, like a lot of guys in that no man's land kind of area.
Ultimate NBA purgatory team, like if they keep it together.
Do you want to take this opportunity to talk about Christian Wood real quick?
Yeah. Sign him.
Let's talk about AJ Hinch for a minute. Are you excited that the Tigers have signed AJ Hinch to be their new manager?
It's as good of a hire as you could have made. The White Sox could have had him with this young, amazing offense that the White Sox have. They could have had him. He would have went there over here. And then they decided to go sign 80-year-old Tony La Russa, who isn't going to be an analytical guy, who was arrested for a DUI in February and charged the day after he signed the contract.
And then when they asked him about it, his response was I don't have to answer that.
And
that was it.
When he got arrested, he showed the ring to the cop and said, "I'm a World Series winner." So he's one of those guys.
Oh, no.
Not to mention he plays for he's going to manage one of the most progressive what's the right term for this? Diverse teams in baseball that stands with BLM and likes to pimp home runs and does all of these things, that Tony La Russa on all of these fronts has showed that he does not agree with in any way, whether it's pimping a home run or whether it's taking a knee for the anthem. Him and Tim Anderson are going to go after each other. But let's talk about AJ Hinch.
Yeah.
Won a World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, there was a cheating scandal. Guess what, everybody? He tried to stop the cheating scandal. That is fact. I mean, he didn't get it done. I don't think he cared that much, but he at least put an effort into it. If you're one of those people who think you're too good to cheat, you're not.
Sure.
But when he got to that Astros team, they were where the Tigers are right now, maybe a little bit further, but similar. They had 3 straight losing 100-loss seasons, and he's known as a player development guy. What do the Tigers need right now? A player development guy. Was Ron Gardenhire that? Yeah, kind of, but he's more of a just get the best out of your current level of player, maybe not get the best out of them and make them grow. So AJ Hinch, I mean, it's the best managerial hire of the offseason. It's the best hire the Tigers have had since Jim Leland, which there's only 2 other ones in between that, but huge. It is the type of hire that can make a team with this level of prospects in their farm system have a future that turns into a World Series contender.
Do you want to touch on the other coaches they hired at all? Just real briefly.
Yeah.
I know there's not a lot. Like, it's the pitching coach for Michigan, like whoopty shit. But tell me about him.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. Chris Fetter, who do I know a ton about the pitching coach from Michigan, except for he has turned that program into a real national program? Not really. What I do know is that professionals around the league that do know about him say he might be the best pitching coach on planet Earth. He might be the best pitching coach in the world. This team has been horrible for half a decade, and we're getting these guys right now. It's the first time we can say Al Avila, that's a hell of a job. Not to mention Scott Coolbaugh, who's been a hitting coach in 100 different places, including Chicago. So he knows what some of those guys have. And then George Lambert, who's with the Dodgers previously, another contending team. We got winners. He is now the bench coach. So they're just good hires everywhere. When you put these pieces together, you might have the best coaching staff in baseball right now.
Wow.
And you're going to have to wait to find out to see how big of a leap this team takes and if they make moves in free agency, which AJ Hinch said Al Avila told him was going to happen. But you have a legit top 5 coaching staff from zero to hero just like that. Because, I mean, last year the coaching staff was rough. They weren't making great decisions. They were using analytics, but not as much as you would have liked. And this is going to be a almost purely analytical-based coaching staff. I'm excited to see what this team looks like next year, man. The future is starting. We're finally getting there. It's been 5 years, and we're finally getting there. Casey Mai is going to be on the team. Skubal on the team. Hopefully Manning at some point. One executive the other day, or scout, it might have been an anonymous scout, said Torkelson is the best hitting prospect he's seen in 20 years, and he expects him to be on the team at some point next season. Riley Green looks like he could be Cody Bellinger or Christian Yelich. Even if half these guys don't work out, you have a nice crop of young players who can lead you into this next generation of hopefully dominant Tiger baseball.
Excellent. Finally, some good news.
Yes, need it in Detroit sports.
We're an hour in, and there it is, folks. Good news.
And that's all we have for you this week.